Two, one. All right, welcome to Compounded, guys. We are here today to discuss our portfolios. Now, this is a new trend on YouTube where people want to talk about how much they make. Now, right now, we're just going to reveal just how much we have in our portfolios, and we're just going to talk about our strategies and our long-term goals. I will go first. I'm going to quickly share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep, now I can.
All right, so my portfolio is sitting at $83,000, which I'm really happy to have, and I made it in the past few years, so I'm really happy to grow this amount. I'm really fortunate, and for the most part, my portfolio, so $83,000, and this is a screenshot, but I'm actually up 49% roughly, and I'm up $27,000. So from a $57,000, $56,000 investment. I'm up $27,000. So, what do you think about that? 50% in just like a year or two. I think I'm more than happy with that. Um, so I'm gonna quickly go over what I think the best ones for me and the best investments I've made. Which is the next slide.
So, but before you start, before you start going through these individual stocks, what would you say is the theme of your account? Were you tech heavy? Were you industrials heavy?
So the past year was majority my investing, and we're still very young, and so that my mentality kept changing over time. My idea was like, hey, everything is at a discount, just buy. It's gonna shoot up. So I initially bought a lot of airline stocks, and actually sold at the wrong time. I literally sold the morning before it shot up. But then I learned, okay, then I learned about like holding over the course of 20 years, and I looked at, if I grow at 50%, I put 2,000 in a month, and I grow at 15, 20%. In 20 years, I will have 5, 6, $10 million. So when I understood that, I started looking into long-term ETFs. It's too risky to have um, individual stocks, and I don't want to perform trades in the future. I want to just buy ETFs and not think about it. So my strategy shifted to long-term ETFs, really high growth ETFs, and just holding long-term. And that's what's giving me the higher returns today. So if you look at the portfolio right now, we have the ARK ETFs are my favorite. We have RK, which I've invested, 5,000, $500, and I'm up $2,000, which is a really 40% gain. ARC Genome, which is I've invested $11,000. Sorry, $9,000, and I'm up $2,000, and so on. Disney is the next one. I got in really early. I got in at 113. My average is 127, and it just keeps going. And the next one is also ARC. Then we have VGT, which is Vanguard, which was most of my portfolio initially, but I moved it to the higher growth ETFs. Tesla, this is up just because Tesla doubled. So what I invested more than doubled. And then again, the last one I want to talk about is another ARK, so going forward, my strategy is just buy $1,000 to $3,000 worth of ARK every month for the next 15, 20 years. And I think if I do that, it will double every 5 years, at least every 6 years. And on a good day, on a good year, if it's a good 20 years, it'll double every 4 years. And if you do the math, if your money is doubling every 4 years and 5 years, it will, 5x or 6x. So I'm looking at $2, $3 million at least on the low end. Do you want to quickly go over your strategies and what your thoughts on your portfolio?
Yeah, go right ahead. So my combined account is worth right at about 148,000, and I've been working on this account for a few years now. I started in 2017, but I don't know the exact rate of return because TD Ameritrade doesn't really have that feature to show you that. But I know that I've had above average market returns, so I beat the market. And really, my strategy has been at first I started buying and selling more often, but I found that long term buying and selling, if you're not day trading, if you're just trying to sell buy and hold every couple of weeks, doesn't seem to be a great strategy. I think finding good companies and holding them for at least 2 to 3 years is the best way to go, and that's where you're going to get the most returns. So that's my account's steadily been growing over time. And here's this page showing all the stocks that I have. So on the right side, you can kind of see the percent gain I have on each of my stocks, what the market value is, what the dollar gain is. And right off the top, you can see my top few stocks are all tech type stocks. The first one, Fiverr, is my favorite stock, and that's why I have close to $6,000 in it. And that stock is basically, if you're not familiar with Fiverr, it's basically a freelancing website, and it's been growing really fast lately. It even showed up in the Super Bowl this past weekend as a commercial. So it's gaining a lot of popularity, and I have a lot of faith in it. As you look down the list that I have a lot of other stocks. Another one that I'm really excited about is Pinterest. It's lower on my list as far as return because I've recently bought some more, which lowered my average return. But Pinterest is one of my best performing stocks, and that also has some great potential. Some other stocks that I have are some of the bigger companies like Autodesk, Microsoft, Match.com, and these are all, I think, stable companies that are good to hold for a very long time, and some of them even have dividends. So really, my strategy is every single week on a certain day of the week, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday, pick any day of the week, buy a certain stock. And the reason I say that is because you're cost averaging your investments, and you're not dumping all your cash at one time. Don't get me wrong, I think it's very beneficial to invest more money when the market is down, but I think that just being consistent is the best way to go long term if your strategy is to buy and hold.
Yeah,
So
I really like your stock breakdown because I like overall. It really sucks sometimes because the sometimes the company you invest in least grows the most, and you have like you slap your knee like, man, I wish I put more money in it. But I feel like your portfolio is really well distributed overall. The amount of money you put in each single one, and the growth is really well. Like you made some solid decisions, and you have a very bullish, very green portfolio. So I think, and a lot of times I think these gains are locked in.
so I
Fiverr,
will
you're
add
up.
one more thing.
Mhm.
One other important thing is sometimes the best stock is one that you already own, and the best thing to do is just add to it. And a good example is Fiverr. I've invested in that stock 3 different times, and I'm still at a 75% gain, which means my first investment is probably over 200% up. Um, and ever since I kept investing in it, it just keeps going higher. So Fiverr is still my best investment, even though I recently bought some like a week ago, which tells you that just whenever you have cash available and you plan to invest it, look at that money holistically and say, where is the best place I can put that money right now? If that's a stock that you already own, go for it. If it's not, buy something else. One thing that I see people do that I don't necessarily agree with is sometimes people will buy a stock and that stock will drop. And then they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to buy some more stock as it's down so I could average my losses more to zero, right? So it looks like I'm losing a lesser percentage if I buy it when it goes down again. But the reason I don't recommend that is because you're not following the philosophy of putting your money where you think you're going to get the best returns. If you don't feel like that stock is worth investing in and you just want to do it just to make your losses look better, don't do it. Put your money where you feel like it's going to grow the most.
I completely agree. For me, it's ETFs, and I think for you, because you heavily research these companies and you have a lot of faith in them, and you are planning on holding them for years on end, I don't think you have any problem just letting buying a lot and seeing where it goes. And I think that's a good um, like theme you and I both have. Only invest in companies or ETFs you're going to hold for a very long time. So that's actually the trick of all of this, right? Not buying or selling every other week, but buy if you're willing to hold it for 5, 10 years. Wouldn't you agree that's a really good strategy, like good mentality to have? Like, am I willing to buy this for many years? Then buy it. If not, don't buy it.
Yep, I
That
agree.
that that way you're not chasing anything. All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think this was good just to kind of cover two different and successful strategies. And I think ultimately, whichever strategy you go with, just depends on what your risk level is and what your long-term goals are.
Sounds good. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. This is the Compounded Guys, and our goal is to become millionaires, but we know that takes time and patience. And just buy good stocks, buy good ETFs. Just wait and wait and wait, and before you know it, things will hopefully turn in your favor for and hopefully you'll be a millionaire soon too. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks.